Hello and welcome back. And the party are outside this cave system. Their two Phaneton guards are slowly escorting two wounded prisoners back to the sanctuary of the Phaneton enclave. They have told us that the way to the top of this plateau is actually through the actual underneath of the plateau. There's a tall winding stair that leads upwards. In the middle of this, there's a massive volcanic cavern which is inhabited by these corrupted creatures which seem to have been bred half of the Rakasta and half of, well, we've been told orcs, but we can judge that for ourselves. We're going to have to camp here for the night. We have cleared out this troglodyte part and found quite a lot of treasure, so we aren't expected to be attacked tonight. But before we go to sleep, Tybor is on 3 hit points, and the only healing that we have for him is his dose of the Staff of Healing. Okay, he's up to 8 hit points. He doesn't have a missile weapon, so he's going to have to hang around the back line and maybe step in with his two-handed sword. We shall wake up tomorrow morning and give out more healing because Donard is on 32 and Carrick is on 20. So we shall do that. We shall camp for the night and wake up tomorrow morning and let's do a bit more healing. Let's do a Cure Light Wounds on Carrick. Okay, he's up to 23. We'll do one on Donard. It's always physician heal thyself with him. He's on 34. And we'll use this sword of Cure Light Wounds on Tybor. He's up to 14. And then we have to use the Staff of Healing, and I shall do that quickly. Everybody's own dice. So this is Carrick, Tybor, and Donard. Oh, that was going to be a 6. Did you see that? Right, so Carrick gets 9. He's back up to 32, full health for him. Donard gets 7, he's back up to 41. Not his max, but still the most in the party. And Tybor gets 5, he's up to 19. Oh well. We're going to set off into this cavern, walking at our usual speed. The cavern is dark. Malin is holding the lantern that has got a continual light gem in it. The gem is a garnet, which means the light has a slightly pinkish hue. And we're walking along at our usual 60 feet per round, and we've been told to hug the left and go under a tunnel and we will find the stair. Unfortunately, the escaped slaves haven't gone unnoticed, and this is our first sight of these strange creatures which have been bred from the Rakasta. We've been told they walk upright and they're sort of like a hairy cat-like orc, which gives them a face like a vampire bat. Now, they do get stealth. They do have a greater chance of surprise than us. And they do get it. They get surprise on a 1 to 3. So as we're creeping round this corner, these rather silent creatures, maybe it's their cat-like grace, or else maybe it's because the reality is they weren't crossbred with orcs. They were crossbred with bugbears. Bugbears are slightly hairy. The Rakasta have a fur on them, but this fur has sort of become a sort of greenish, muddy colour. And sure enough, 4 of these sort of squashed, almost like a pug cat-like face, but without the fur, like a bat, suddenly come out of round the corner, and well, they surprised the party. Okay, let's see what their reaction is. It won't be favourable, I don't think. Oh, that's 11. That is possibly friendly. Roll again. Okay, well, they've used up their surprise by asking, who are you? Are we going to bluff it? Actually, with Donard at the front, I'm going to have to subtract from that because he has got such a low charisma that I'm going to downgrade that to a 9. That's still possibly friendly. And Donard, in his usual tactless way, says, I'm looking for the way up. Who are you? Let's see what they do to that. I'm going to turn that into a 6, right, which gives a score of friendly. So these creatures, I'm going to call them skanks because Liz said they sound pretty skanky, and that's the kind of nickname that stuck. So these 4 skanks say, more people for the ceremony. and we say, yes, the ceremony. And they say, did you see any wounded slaves come past this way? And I don't think it's in Donard's personality to play act or bluff. And I think he's just instantly going to attack these people. So I think he's going to take out his warhammer, and I think that's negotiations are over. The only benefit of that high reaction roll was these skanks lost their surprise. So what have we got? We've got a tight corner. We've got 4 of them, and we've got a front line of Carrick and Donard. Only 2 of them can attack at a time, and there isn't room for missiles. It's too tight. There is room for magic in terms of magic missiles, and Sylvia still has a sleep spell. So I think she's going to cast sleep. Malin will cast his magic missile. He's on the back line. Tybor can't swing. There's not enough room for his 2-handed sword. And Maridin and Liz don't have line of sight. So that's the intentions. They get initiative. Right, like the Rakasta, these creatures attack with their claws. They are stronger, and they do 1d6 plus 1 damage per claw. They have 2 claw attacks. They don't have a bite attack. Their distorted faces don't really have the jaws or the teeth for the bite attack. However, they do a much stronger claw attack. They get 2 attacks. They also have metal armor. We were warned about that because apparently this lava cavern has a forge. So they have an armor class of 2, they have a THAC0 of 16, save versus spell of 16, their hit dice level is 3 plus 1, and they have 14 hit points each. Right, the first one is going to claw at Donard, and they need a 18 to hit him. And they both miss. And 2 are going to claw at Carrick, and they need a 17 to hit him. And those claw attacks miss. It's our go. No missiles, spells. Sylvia's going to cast sleep. They're level 3. And that's 2 of them go to sleep. I shall say the 2 on the back line. Malin is going to cast a magic missile on the one that's on Carrick. Right, that is 10 plus 3 is 13. It's down to 1 hit point. We have melee one-handed. Donard is going to swing at the one that's on him. And he fumbles. That's what you get for not being able to negotiate. And Carrick. Does he hit armor class 2? He doesn't. He hits armor class 5. That's a miss. So that is round 1 over and done with. We're on to round number 2. We get initiative. So there's no spells, there's no missiles. We're back onto melee. Donard, he misses. Carrick, that's a good hit. And the one on him had 1 hit point left. It's dead. There go. And this is the one that's on Donard. Oh boy. And they hit him for 7. He's down to 34. We're quickly on to round number 3. There's only 1 standing. There are 2 sleeping. It gets initiative. So it claws at Donard. Nearly hits him. Whew. Thankfully didn't. Our cleric is going to fight back with another miss. Like, I think he seriously finds these things ugly and off-putting. Or maybe he's disturbed by his dream from last night, you know. And Carrick does 9 plus 4 is 13. It's down to 1 hit point. And we're quickly on to round number 4. It gets initiative. I shall do a morale check for it. And its morale holds up. Right, luckily it misses our cleric again. He's going to have a swing. 1 hit point. Oh boy, and he misses again. Carrick, yes, does what's needed and slices off the head of this skank, and it rolls on the floor. There are 2 more sleeping. It's been some time since we captured a prisoner and tied one up. So I think we'll kill one and tie the other one up, and let's see what information we can get from it, if any. Right, so the party have tied up one of these skanks and they have slapped it around its face to wake it up. It wakes up. It just gives a toothy, grinning leer at the party as it looks around at them. Who's going to do the questioning? We'll try Maradin, as he is the one with the 17 charisma, and he should get a bonus to any reaction rolls. What kind of questions will they ask? Well, I suppose a question is, what do you call yourselves? And that is a low roll. Let's see what charisma. There is only a +1 bonus onto that, so that's a 6. And on our monster reaction table, that comes out as uncertain. Roll again. That's a sign that this skank is not being cooperative. It will just laugh back in Maradin's face. Right, that's a bit better. That's a 10, possibly friendly. What would the next question be? Maradin might ask, how many of them are you? And this skank says back, we are legion. And it's at this point, let's see if anybody rolls a 6. I'm not going to do Tybor, he's not smart enough. Oh yeah, several people ask a very obvious question, and that obvious question is, how do you speak common? Well, we kind of knew that the Rakasta could speak a bit of broken common, but this one is fluent in it, and let's see what its reaction to that question is. Right, that's an 8. That's uncertain. Roll again. I think it's time to put a dagger up to its throat and ask again. Right, that's a really bad roll, and that says attack. Well, it can't attack, so I'm going to take that as it shuts up. We might ask it a more obvious question, where do you keep the slaves? That's an 8, and again, it just leers at us. So we'll ask again, and that's a 6. Negotiate, roll again. Right. It might start to bargain. It might say, set me free and I will show you the way. Something isn't adding up here. We're going to ask it another question. Who created you? And that's a low roll of 6 again. Uncertain. I'm going to say its eyes widen at that statement. Perhaps it doesn't understand the concept of being created. That's why it's uncertain. 9. That's friendly. Okay, it's going to give up some information, but it probably won't be the information that we find settling, because it says to the party as it looks around at them, who created us? The voices in our heads did. And I think that tells us all we need to know, that these skanks are a sort of twisted creation of the copru who invade people's minds. This gives us a major problem. We know from the testimonies of Maradin and Tybor, who were under this mind control, that it is a one-way communication system. Voices can be fed from the copru into their victims' minds, but the people under control have no way of communicating back. However, it has become apparent that whenever a mind which is under their control dies, they are aware of its loss. It is clearly one of the number of the hive has just blinked out of existence, and they can detect that, but they mightn't be able to detect where it has happened. Whilst the copru can broadcast into the minds of their victims, it doesn't necessarily mean they see through the eyes of their victims. So they have some awareness that at least 3 of these skanks will have been killed, and they may start to broadcast to all the other skanks and anybody else under their control that there is something wrong. That something might just be a rock fall which has killed 3 of their number, but that does need to be investigated. If we kill this 4th one, will that increase the alarm of the situation? He will still be kept under control of the copru, and everything he says and does will be geared towards giving them the information they need. The only way of transmitting back to the copru is through these giant black pearls. some of which have been carved into their effigies. So if this skank gets back to the control pearl, then he will be able to broadcast back to the copru exactly what has happened. So on reflection, I'm going to take a vote. 1 to 2, we let this creature live. 3 to 4, we kill it. It's not a balanced vote, but this is not a balanced decision. Right, 2 dissenters, Tybor and Malin. Both the lowest and the most intelligent people in the party, though Malin is quite naive. His argument would have been along the lines of, perhaps we can feed this creature false information and use it as a spy for our own benefit. But I think everybody else is thinking that's way too complicated. We've no idea how to make that work, even if it does work. So no, that option is out. We have to just do the deed and kill this skank. Right, that's the 4th dead skank, and the party have been told to move on, go through this tunnel. Along this winding passage, we're going at a really slow pace because we are aware that something may have been alerted to the party's presence. So they eventually do go round several corners, and sure enough, ahead of them is the bottom of this endless stair. Let's see where that takes them. Eventually, the party turn a corner and they end up here. I've done my best to try and draw what I think this should look like. It isn't a valley. You have to imagine 2 sheer walls, almost vertical, which have just split apart. And this is a narrow passage through this large vertical crack, and the lamplight only goes up 30 feet and the rest is just darkness. This is a fracture within the volcanic plateau, and creeping up at their pace in the lamplight is the party. And they come to a fork in the path. There's another fracture that leads up this way. These stairs have been carved. This, however, hasn't. There's a lot of rubble around, yet at the same time, there's a lot of marks. And well, the whole party has been travelling for over a year, so they can understand the marks when something has been dragged. And they listen. Given the nature of this place, their footsteps have reverberated quite badly, and sound does travel. Sound waves would just bounce off these rocks and go some distance as they just go from one wall to the other wall. That's no exception, because when they stop here, they can hear faintly but distinctly sounds of hammering, well, some kind of manual labour going on. So what are we going to do? Well, we have a thief, and considering how dangerous this place is, we have 2 options. We can cast invisibility 10 feet on everybody, or we can cast invisibility on our thief, so we're sure that she won't be seen. And that's what we're going to do. Let's mark off invisibility, and let's send Liz up here. I will do a move silently check simply because of the auditorium qualities of this place. I'm going to give her a 90% chance, because anybody who could possibly hear her, their own sound perception will be drowned out by the noise of the hammering and the digging which is going on. And that's what she sees when she comes around the corner. There are slaves chained up. Some, about 2 are human. The rest are the Rakasta, and there's even the little Thanaton as well. They're chained up. They're working with pitchforks and hammers, and they're grinding up rock into smaller pieces. They're loading them onto a sled, and that explains the drag marks down here. Overseeing this are 3 skanks with whips, and they're using their whips liberally. Even if the slaves are working, they're getting pleasure from this. And Liz, even without any bonuses, makes her move silently check, so she can report back what is going on. The rest of the party are going to reform here, and 3 skanks. I think we can take these on without wasting any other spells. And as always, it is one of those occasions where you get very tight with your resources because they might come in more useful later on. Tybor is still at the back with his 19 hit points. He is going to work with Donard. From the way Liz has described this area, there is room for archery, though we hope not to hit any of the slaves. So we will have Liz, Sylvia and Maridin on archery duty. We will have Donard and Carrick up front. Malin, does he have any other spells? No, he's going to hold the lamp, though this place is lit with its own torches. Right, that is the plan. Let's move up. Are we seen? They can't surprise us. We can surprise them if we get a 1 or a 2. And we do, good. So the surprise round for the boys is to move forward with Tybor in sort of flanking position. And then we have Liz, Sylvia and Maridin, and then Malin at the back. Whilst the surprise round has been to close ranks with these 3 skanks. One here, one here, one here. I might have to put them in. We have an archery round, so let's do Liz. The one with the most line of sight is this one by itself. Would help if I threw the right dice. Right, she does get a short range bonus, that's an 8. Her missile attack was 13. These have an armor class of 2. Remember, they're wearing metal armor, which is unusual. Right, Maridin, he misses. Sylvia hits, but only does 4 damage. It's down to 10. Right, that's the surprise round. Round number 1. They get initiative. Okay, 1 on Donard, 1 on Carrick, and the third one is going to choose... It's undecided. It's going to choose Carrick. Right, let's do the one on Donard. They get 2 claw attacks with a THAC of 16. And one hits him for 4 points, he's down to 30. Right, first one on Carrick. They need a 17 to hit. They both miss. So it's our go. Missiles. We can shoot over Carrick's head. These things are quite tall. Sylvia, with a short range bonus, she hits armor class 3. Liz misses. Maridin misses. What useless archery. Okay. So we've got Donard, who hits but does just 5 damage. That one's down to 9. Carrick, who hits armor class 3. I don't believe it. That would have cleaned one out with one swipe. And Tybor has come round the side. He's got a bit more reach. And he misses. Right, round number 2. They get initiative again. They miss Donard. That's a miss on Carrick. That's a second miss on Carrick. Right, no wonder these fights go on for ages. Okay, it's our go. Right. Liz. With a short range bonus, she just hits and does 7 damage. That one is on 3. Maridin misses. Sylvia misses. Donard hits and does 6 damage. That one is on 3. Carrick fumbles badly. Tybor hits and cleans out that one. Right, so it's round number 3. We get initiative. Okay. Missiles. Liz misses. Maridin hits and kills one of the ones on Carrick. Sylvia misses and Tybor goes last. This skank is still on Carrick and it misses, so Tybor's go and he completely misses. Oh my god, we're on round number 4, and just when we thought it was safe to go back into the water, 3 more of these creatures appear from these tunnels. Okay, we'll roll for initiative on round number 4. We get initiative. Good. Okay. This means Tybor could be in trouble because he's exposed. It's our initiative. We have missiles. This one is the most obvious because it's the closest and there's nobody in the way. So let's have Liz, who does hit. Well done. And does 7 damage. That one's down to 7 immediately. Let's have Sylvia. She misses. And Maridin, his missile Thaco is 13. Yes, so with the short range bonus, he hits and he does 2 plus 2 is 4. This one's on 3. Let's do Carrick on this one. Right, he just hits. That one is down to 6. Let's do Donard on it. Just misses. So we've now got 4 of these skanks and it's their go. Right, they've come out from these tunnels and moved forward. Tybor still has to get his attack in, but he goes last. So we've got, again, 1 on Donard. That misses. We've got 1 on Tybor, who hits him for 1 point. And we've got 2 on Carrick. 1 misses. And 2 hit. That's 11 points off our dwarf. He's down to 21. Okay, it's round number 5. They get initiative. Oh, sorry, no. Right, it's Tybor's attack on the one that's behind him. And yes, he easily hits it and slices its head off. Just. This skank has come out of this tunnel. It's had some arrows fired at it that missed. And then all of a sudden, this big guy with his 2-handed sword turns around and chops his head off. Right. Tybor does 2d6 plus 4. That's 14 damage. It had 14 hit points. Right. Nice one, Tybor. Let's roll for round 5 initiative. Ah, they get it. 1 on Donard. Misses. 2 on Carrick. First one. Hits for 3. He's down to 18. The second one. For another 3. He's down to 15. Right. We need to do better than this. Okay, so when it comes to the archery, we're going to take on the new one on the right hand side that has just entered. Again, Liz. Hits, does 6 points. It's dead. Yeah, they shot at that first. Maridin. Hits and does 7 points. That one's on 7. Sylvia. Hits and does 4 points. It's on 3. So we've got 2 left. 1 on 6 and 1 on 3. It's Donard's go. Oh, he misses. It's Carrick's go. Oh, it would help if I rolled the right dice. He misses. And then it's Tybor's go. And he hits and he kills one of them. There's 1 left. Let's do a Initiative. We get initiative. Missiles. I think there isn't line of sight. There's a big guy in the way and a cleric. So we're going to go on to melee one-handed. Donard fumbles. Carrick hits and takes its head off. So we have got an area where there's some slaves. We've got some tunnels to explore. So let's see how that goes. So I will have members of the party check these tunnels, and sure enough we find more slaves who are mining away. Carrick notices the sort of orangey veins and colouring to the rock. He instantly recognises this as a good source of iron. When he holds up the lumps of rock which are being put into the sleds, this is good quality iron ore. And again, if you're a geologist and you want to point out that you probably don't get iron ore in igneous rocks, please correct me. But okay, this is a good source of iron. Now, we search the skanks for the keys to release the prisoners. They're manacled both by their ankles and somewhat by their wrists, even though they have to do manual work. We don't find the key. The Rakasta, in their broken cat-like English, and the little Phanatons tell us that the keys are kept way up above in the main chamber. There's a human slave there as well. We can't release these people into the wild and set them free with their hands bound. They do have some kind of weapons in as much as they have tools, and we could give them a water skin so they could drink from the volcanic waterfall in the lair below. But we're going to have to see if Liz can start doing some lock picking. And we'll see if she can roll 3 successes in a row. Her lock picks is 55. Well, that's a 14. That's good. That's a 29. That's good. And that's another 14. So yes, I'll say with 3 successful lockpicks in a row, she has managed to free the slaves. And it's Malin that reminds her, do you remember all the way back underneath the keep in the Black Eagle Barony? We started off by freeing slaves. And Liz kind of gets the hint that this lifestyle is much more worthy than simply wanting to get rich to live with the elites in Specularum. But Liz has grown up. She is on her hero's journey, but she can't help but give that little patronising smile to her younger brother, because she can second guess what he's thinking, and she just says, I know, before he has to say it. With these prisoners free, we want to get more information from them about what we have sort of been told, that there is a massive forge, a river of lava, and a chamber up above. And we will sit down, and one of the slaves is human, who will be able to sort of speak to us a bit easier with a slightly bigger vocabulary. And, well, let's hear his tale next time. And I will see you then.